Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Yes, just in case you are seeing this face for the first time, my name is Philip. This is my channel. Yes, today we are diving deep into the much anticipated, five, the fifth studio album, from Nigerian superstar Davido. This album has been, making waves across the globe, and I have spent, some serious time with it, to bring you this honest, in-depth review. So the album, was released, I think on the 18th of last month, So it's safe to say this album is like exactly 1 month. I've been, going back and forth with it for 1 month, So I feel like it gives me the the right to actually, say, what I think about this album. Yes. First off, this album five, is a sprawling, 17 track, journey that I feel like it highlights, Davido's, ability, to evolve, whilst, staying, true to his Afrobeats roots. From the first beat, you can hear the fusion of, traditional African sounds, with modern global influences like piano, R&B. For a moment there, I even felt a bit of Love is Rock in there. It's so clear that Davido, is not just sticking, to the formula, that made him famous. He is experimenting and stretching, his musical boundaries. What strikes me most about this album, is how Davido, balances celebration and introspection. There's that undeniable energy, in songs like "Offer Me," with Victoria Monet, which burst with youthful confidence and swagger. But then you get tracks like "Be There Still," which happens to be one of my favorites on the album, that delve into his personal journey, reflecting on fame, reflecting on growth and resilience. The album to me feels like a conversation, between the artist, and his fans, with honesty and vulnerability, woven in. Sonically, the production, is rich and layered. The Amapiano influences, really stands out, on a few tracks, giving the album a fresh, and contemporary feel, without losing the signature Davido vibe. Collaborations are thoughtfully placed, each adding a unique texture. Chris Brown, brings that smooth international flair. Omalay also complements Davido with emotive melodies, and Becky G, spices things up with cross genre energy. However, some might say that at 17 tracks, the album occasionally feels a bit overextended. A tighter edit, could have heightened its impact. Trimming some less memorable moments, to keep the listener fully engaged, from start to finish. Personally, certain highlights and standout tracks, to me, you look at tracks like "Offer Me," which immediately grabs your attention. To me, it's infectious, it's catchy, and the chemistry, with Victoria Monet is undeniable. With You, which has blown, which is everywhere now, TikTok everywhere. With You, with Omalay, to me, it's a beautiful, romantic, duet. That's really showcases, Davido. His softer side. Then Be There Still, which happens to be one of my favorites. Once again, brings a deeper, emotional layer with its, I'm a piano groove and reflective lyrics. These tracks, are definitely the heartbeats, of the album, and I keep coming back to them. I listen to them in the car. Everywhere. Yeah. Now, I have to say, we all can agree that no album, is perfect. Whilst this album five, offers a vibrant, soundscape and impressive, vocal performances. Some songs, feel, a bit safe or formulaic. I don't know if that makes sense. Like Davido was playing it too cautiously, at times. As a fan and as a music enthusiast, I'd love to see even more, risk taking and experimentation, in his future projects. Also, the sheer length, can make the listener experience, be a bit uneven. I don't know if you guys get the picture I'm trying to paint. Yes, but that's just my thoughts. That's just my overall thoughts, about this album. So yeah, overall, this album 5 is definitely a statement, to Davido's growth as a global artist. It's a celebration of where he's coming from and where he's heading. The album definitely balances infectious party anthems with introspective moments, making it a dynamic and rewarding listen for both longtime fans and newcomers. So yeah, if you are into Afrobeats or just great contemporary music that blends genres and cultures seamlessly, I feel like this album 5 is definitely worth your time. Yes. So to me, I'll definitely give this like a hard 7. 7 out of 10. I feel like Davido could have done better. Yeah, but I still love it. Yeah. So that's just my thoughts. That's just my view on the album. So what do you think? What do you think? Have you listened to the entire album? 5. Which tracks stood out to you? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your take. And if you enjoyed this review, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a deep dive like this. Yeah, thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.